My Hero Academia chapter 428, titled A Girl Who Loves Smiles, dropped, giving us our first look at the new first years at UA and a bunch of Ochaco, as she finally is going to confess her feelings to Deku. So let's get into breaking down the chapter. Now the chapter begins with the first years explaining when they became interested in the heroes Bakugo and Shoto, varying all the way back to their big debuts in the sports festival to the all-out war. Ida says that chasing them around isn't good and that they still haven't fully recovered from the war yet. The first years all apologize, and Shinso says that he thought Bakugo liked attention, but Serral says that this amount of attention was too much. Deku says that all of the girls have always kind of ignored Bakugo, so he must not be used to it. Shinso says that's surprising, and Mineta says that it's not, clearly jealous of all of the attention Bakugo and Shoto have been receiving. A first year boy tells Deku that he saw him fighting in the war and wants to be just like him. Deku remembers Spinner's face and doesn't quite know how to react, thinking this pain. Ochaco looking at all of this with an expression that clearly shows how she, just like Deku, doesn't know how to go about moving forward. Switching over to the teacher's lounge, President Mike says that Class 2A has received another request for an interview, but Aizawa refuses. Ectoplasm says that some students like Mineta must want the spotlight, but Aizawa says that others don't, and he wants to respect that. Switching back to Class 2A, we see that the students are sent to a reconstruction area to work with Fat Gum, Best Genius, and Edshot. They start cleaning up the wreckage caused by the war, and Bakugo asks Edshot if he's going to stay like this forever, but Edshot tells him not to worry because he has little threaded hands. Bakugo asks if he won't go back to normal, and Edshot says that he plans to become even better than before, making Bakugo smile. As we know, with Bakugo now needing to go through therapy for his arm, this talk with Edshot gives us a clear indication of where Bakugo and his treatment will leave him by the end of the series, since Edshot planning on becoming better than ever and is physically regaining his body back slowly in his thread form. This gives Bakugo a level of assurance that not only will the hero that saved his life be okay, but his arm will be as well, and will be better than before. Moving on, the civilians serve lunch to the heroes, and one of them says that his plantation was destroyed in the war, which causes Deku to apologize for the damages. The man then says that he's not blaming him for what happened, since after seeing the heroes fighting, they felt motivated. Instead of leaving everything to the heroes, they also want to do something on their own. The heroes all thank them for the food and say they'll finish cleaning up today. Cementos' class bus arrives, confusing Aizawa, but Cementos says that the first years wanted to apologize and make up for the mess. The first year, who respects and looks up to Deku, says that they've just entered the school and don't have their licenses yet, but they also want to help. The man from before says it's curious to see how efforts influence other people, and Ochaco says she's relieved to see that everyone seems to be getting a bit more optimistic. Deku and Tsuyu look worried, but Ochaco runs off and says she's going to get some more food, with Ochaco sporting the same fake smile as we get a zoom in on Deku's face, noticing Ochaco and the pain she's trying to hide. At 7 p.m. at night, the narration says that the students aren't forced to stay at the dorms anymore. Tsuyu says that Ochaco said she's going home for a while and isn't answering any of her messages. We then see a flashback of the reporter's camera running out of battery right when all of the Twice clones are vanishing, as Ochaco says, on that day our conclusion wasn't caught on camera. Ochaco is watching the city from the same hill her and Deku stood on at Troy before the war. She says that the city is back to normal and the battle is finally over. Things are going back to normal, and that's a good thing. She loves to see everyone smiling and would like to be optimistic too. She doesn't want to ruin the mood, but Ochaco then remembers Toga crying and smiling and continues saying, "That's why I'm suppressing the pain from this wound." Ochaco thinks to herself as she places her hand on her stomach and she starts crying, and Deku arrives shouting Uraraka, ending the chapter. Now this chapter was great. Not only do we get to see Japan coming together to help rebuild, but we finally finally get to see things from Ochaco's perspective, as she still is suffering massively emotionally about Toga, but doesn't want to make the others worry, bringing down their mood. Ochaco's whole motto throughout the series has been, who are the ones who protect the heroes when they need saving. She has come to the aid of Deku when he needed it the most, and this chapter flips it all on her, as now she is the one suffering the most. Toga's change of heart and heroic actions in saving Ochaco was never seen by the masses. It's clear Ochaco needs to let her bottled up emotions loose in order to really recover her mental health and process all of her pain and suffering from the war in a healthy way. Deku arriving at the end of the chapter is what will lead to Ochaco finally confessing all of her feelings from not only the war and how it has affected her, but as well as her feelings that she has for Deku. There has been so much romantic tension between these two characters all throughout the series, and with Ochaco fully confessing how she felt about him to Toga during their fight, it's time that she unveils this truth to Izuku, making all of that bottled up emotions and the weight it put on her shoulders from the war to Toga's sacrifice and her love for Deku out, finally making that weight disappear. For a character that can make gravity disappear, her bottling up her emotions was the one thing that always weighed her down. In my opinion, this is what made this character so good, and I can't wait to see how her talk with Deku gets handled in the next chapter. Let me know your thoughts on the chapter. Is the payoff going to be great? Let me know everything in the comment section below. With that said, if you enjoyed the video, then be sure to Detroit smash that like button down below. And if you are new to the Kitoroki channel, then be sure to subscribe with notifications on so that you don't miss any My Hero Academia content. And I'll see you all in the next one.